Oh, so real quick, this is an introduction to my new channel, Injustice by Justices. A quick synopsis of this channel. Essentially, in 2023, I stopped selling drugs. The police never gave up their investigation. They were running illegal wiretaps on me, trying to stop me from getting employed. So I decided that the best option would be to move to another part of the country where they basically would not be able to create an excuse to do what it was that they were doing. So within like 2 months of me stopping selling drugs, I moved to the state of Wisconsin. More than likely, I was followed there by either Greenwich Police, Connecticut State Police, or the FBI just used informants that they already have in the state of Wisconsin. So in Wisconsin, things happened, rumors started, which is kind of why I can tell that like I was followed, with the exception of this one kid who was a neighbor. I don't know. I can tell it was a situation where it wasn't just me, because when I met him, like the first words out of this kid's mouth were, "Oh man, I traded a neighbor that has a cool ass motorcycle for a neighbor that has an M850 BMW." So I can kind of just tell like that's just his personality and how he is. But anywho, I got to the point where I was like unemployable in Wisconsin, or at least it seemed that way. So I was, looking to move somewhere new. I left Wisconsin. I was followed from Wisconsin to Wyoming, which is 1,000 miles away from Wisconsin. Went to the FBI about it. They seemed to not really care. Didn't stay in Wyoming long, came back to New York. And when I got back to New York, everyone was saying that I like touching people's kids. Mind you, I'm from New York. And I went back to the same place where I came from. And it's insane because people kind of wanted to pretend like no one knew that I was selling drugs when I left New York. And the reason for all of it is because I was touching people's kids, and you had adults telling little kids to pretend that they were molested by me. Parents sending their kids close to me. It's just all insane. So, in regards to working, I've been fired from nearly a dozen jobs because of this. And as each termination passed, every instance grew more egregious, essentially. It's to the point where there's like 5 companies that should be sued for what they did, and no one will represent me. If I call the American Bar Association, I do not get return phone calls. Emergency services are disabled on my cell phone. If I call a Human Rights Commission, Westchester or New York State, someone's putting artificial static on the line to the point where the other party can't hear what I'm saying. There's like a coup going on, an attempt to stop me from suing and putting an end to this. And essentially, right now I've got like 5 or 6 small claims cases open. There's at least one notice of claim out there, which I need to redo. Essentially, what's going on here is that there's going to be a lot of pro se action going on. And what I've found out over the past 2 years is that lawyers are some of the, especially in Westchester County and the surrounding areas, are some of the worst kind of people. No one will represent me so that this behavior continues. And it's at the point where I'm just going to solve this myself, document it, and if anyone else were to run into this problem, they can look at this YouTube and get some legal advice or not legal advice, but they can learn some things where, they would otherwise not be able to. You call a lawyer, as soon as they find out it's you, no, we're not representing you, click, slam the phone down on you, that kind of stuff. Also, if you see my other YouTube, which is The Blackest Man in America, you're gonna notice that this one's a bit different. You can say I'm a totally different character on that YouTube, because it's just my personal YouTube to do whatever I want on. This one kind of has a purpose, so I'm not gonna be I'm not gonna be getting so wild on this. Yeah, that's basically it. This is an introduction. In regards to the first piece of, I guess you could say, content, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with that. Being that everything is currently open, actually, there's a small claims case in New Rochelle City Court. I might go into that. Just post all the subpoenas that I submitted, the denials I received. There's some other information I could put out there too, but it's just not time yet. It'd be best if I could close out all cases in the city of New Rochelle before I do that. So, before I complete that series, I'm just gonna need to wait a bit. Also, there's a thing where there's 5 cities in the county of Westchester, and in 3 out of those 5 cities, I went in to these courthouses looking to submit applications to file suit and small claims, and it's as if all these courthouses talk to one another, or there's a party, potentially maybe in the district attorney's office, who speaks to these people on a daily basis. I've come to this conclusion due to the fact that 3 out of these 5 courthouses gave me the exact same story. Literally. You can't sue for that. We don't accept those. You can only sue for out-of-pocket damages. And not for nothing, in the city of New Rochelle, when one of the employees in the clerk's office came into the courtroom and saw that I was still sitting there, you could see she was pretty upset. Now, I don't know if these people are doing it on purpose or if they just don't know what they're talking about. And I'm not sure what's worse. It's just not knowing what you're talking about or doing it on purpose. It's like you don't know how to do your job, or you're intentionally doing your job wrong. So, I don't know. Certainly, I'm going to submit a claim of notice against these people. It's not necessarily about the money. It's more so, at this point, it's the point of just making it stop. And for some reason, these people think that this kind of behavior should be tolerated in this country. And it's like, you work in the clerk's office, you don't have a right to do what it is you're trying to do. And beyond that, I would say nearly every government employee in Westchester County, for some insane reason, at one point or another thought it would be a good idea to tell people I like touching people's kids, or I like sleeping with people's wives. And that's why people say that I like touching people's kids. And between those 2 rumors, I've become totally unemployable. It's like at the point where if I get a job, anyone can make anything up about me at all, period, and I would just be instantly terminated for it. And the whole point of this is that this kind of behavior needs to come to an end. So that's probably my goal before I leave New York. And I'm going to document it and put it on YouTube, and there it shall remain for the end of time, or until the end of time. But I've got some stuff to do.